I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from the Brickyard. The Marks have the front row. Mark Nelson, Mark Dantuma out front, Stephen Gibson, AJ Godsey on the second, Gerald Poole, Eric Stoy on the third, Harley Barletta, Jeff Hinkle on the fourth row, Rick Surgeon and Brandon Springer round out your top 10. Aaron Mason starting in 11th next to the Iceman at 12th. Donald Durant rounds out the 13-car field. Well, Jake, I remember you having the baby, buddy. I can't believe it's already been 3 months. Congratulations, of course, and hope to see you back out here soon. Pace car begins to roll around this 2.5 mile legendary track. History has been made at this track so many times, could be made here again tonight. Jake, you definitely do, buddy. We don't do the regular Sunday anymore, but I would love to get back and get to doing more again. Looks like Brandon Springer does have a penalty tonight. He is dropped to the tail end. And, of course, the First Lady of BRR, Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel, is up in race control tonight. I do believe this is the first time we have ever seen Mark E. Mark on the front row. The Mark Nelson and Mark the Man Dantuma up front for the first time ever. Mark versus Mark. I don't know if this will have catastrophic catastrophic consequences. That's what I was trying to say. Of course, Stephen Gibson back here tonight. Great to see him back out on track. Pace car is in.
Here we go. Green flag. Biggity, biggity, biggity. Let's go racing, boys.
Green flag. They are down and away into turn one. And whoa, we've got one loose. It is Harley Barletta. Harley way loose out of turn one. He gathers it up, uses the access road to get back up on track. We'll take a look at that one here in a moment. Mark Dantuma has gone to lead. Stephen Gibson slipping into second. Gerald Thanos Poole now up into fourth. AJ Godsey currently holds on to fifth. So let's take a look at what happened with Harley coming out of turn one. Oh, Harley just gets loose. Big drift. But he manages to keep it on the escape road and keeps her going. Great save by Harley. Mark Dantuma still out front. As we mentioned in pre-race, one of the problems these drivers talked about, the fastest laps that we saw in practice were in clean air because the aero push back in the field is so bad. Especially through the South Short Chute 1 and 2, things can get really, really spicy in there. We will likely see a few drivers hit that outside wall before the day is done. One driver so far not affected by it, DJ Kenner, already up 2 spots into 10th. Goes a little bit wide through turn 3. Does not lose some ground. Brandon Springer, who did start the race with an EOL penalty, is now up to 9th place. In the last 2 laps, Dantuma has set the lap record. As Mark Nelson is on the attack for 2nd. Through 3 and 4, side by side with Stephen Gibson. Gibson may have the advantage out of turn 4. It's going to be a drag race. Mark pulls the nose edge just past the line into turn 1. Gibson still fighting back, has the momentum advantage up top. Inches apart, and it looks like Gibson gets a big run out of 2. Mark settles back in line, but now Thanos has a run. Gerald pulled out a line, though lost a little ground, couldn't make it stick. Mark Dantuma, this is his 2nd points race in the Chevy. He won at Atlanta and now has a 2 1/4 second lead already here at Indy. Harley Barletta looking to the high side on Rick Sargent. Now moving back up into 10th after dropping almost all the way to the back in turn 1, getting loose out of turn 1 on lap 1. Gerald Poole sitting in 4th, just cannot get back to Mark Nelson. Jeff Hinkle back in 7th. Springer now up to 8th. Springer 2.5 seconds back, but I bet that gap starts to close momentarily. The clean air seems to be the winning place to be here tonight. The Iceman currently sits in 9th, has Barletta on his bumper in 10th. Currently 2 distinct groups. The first, the leader way out front, Stephen Gibson, leads that 2nd group all the way back to 7th place, Jeff Hinkle. And Brandon Springer leading a 3rd group at the moment from 8th on back. Stephen Gibson is starting to close the gap a little on Dantuma. It is now down to 1.9 seconds. AJ Godsey currently sits in 5th, the defending champ, still up there in the points. Mark Nelson is the current points leader, followed by Gerald Thanos Poole, Mark Dantuma, Donald Durant, and Kyle Holden. AJ Godsey currently sitting 15th in points after missing Atlanta. However, it will be a drop race for him. Ten laps into the race, Dantuma's lead still holding about 1.9 seconds after quickly checking out to a big lead. Stephen Gibson, Mark Nelson, Gerald Poole trying to reel him in. AJ Godsey, Eric Stoy, and Jeff Hinkle back there together. Hinkle losing touch with his teammates at the moment, but Brandon Springer in 8th is closing in quickly. And he brings 9th place Harley Barletta, 10th place DJ Kenner with him. Rick Sargent, Aaron Mason, Donald Durant having problems here early, just waiting for that comp caution. Stephen Gibson has been trying to break the draft a little bit in 2nd place on Mark Nelson. It's starting to have a little bit of an impact. Mark now 7/10 of a second back. Gerald Poole 3/4 of a second back in 4th. AJ 1.5 seconds back in 5th. DJ Kenner trying to hold off Brandon. Whoa! That got a little spicy out of the turn there. Springer now has a run under the Iceman. Springer sends it off into 3, a little too high. DJ crosses back under. And out of turn 4, looks like the Iceman will go back to 9th. Springer doesn't have the run this time quite yet. Mark Dantuma has extended his lead once again, about 2.2 seconds over Gibson. Mark Nelson closer to Gibson now, less than half a second. Gerald Poole now losing some ground, 1.4 seconds back in fourth. Everybody settling into a rhythm here until they get to the competition caution. Around lap 27. Mark Dantuma has struggled this season until he hopped into the Chevy and has just been unstoppable. If he can get off the front and get the run he has had here after the comp caution, as long as the race stays green, he will walk away with it. Steven Gibson has now pulled 3/4 of a second on Mark Nelson. The field's starting to spread out just a little bit, but AJ Gonzi has caught up to Gerald Poole. Looks like AJ conserving tires in the early going. Gerald may have given the wall a little bit of a kiss that has allowed AJ to catch up and get by. Trying to look and see if Thanos has had any damage to the right side of that car. Doesn't look like there is any significant damage. Likely just tapped the wall and lost some momentum. But loss of momentum at Indy is huge. Oh, Rick Sargent has gone off track just a little bit. He has recovered. Let's see what happened. Rick looks like coming through the short chute between 1 and 2. Goes way off, gets out of shape. Gathers it back up after going through the grass, but loses a couple of spots and took on a little bit of damage. A lot of these drivers in this first run likely just testing what they can and can't do. Hey, good evening, Kyle. Harley Barletta starting to make up ground. Just took 7th place back from Jeff Hinkle. Jeff Hinkle now back to 8th. Brandon Springer still holding 9th. DJ in 10th. Aaron Mason up to 11th. All Durant's in 12th. Rick Sargent in 13th. Mark Dantuma still holding a 2.1 second lead over Gibson. Mark is just gone. Gibson sitting in second, also has clean air, but just unable to gain any ground on the leader. Eric Stoy had a problem out of 4. Eric Story coming out of turn. Oh, hard hit into the wall. Manages to get it back up on track before the commitment cone. But we are starting to see some of these cars get really loose on corner exit. Gerald Poole has gone to pit road. It looks like he may have taken some damage when he got the wall. Unexpected to see anybody on pit road right now before the comp caution. Mark Dantuma crossing over the yard of bricks once again. Stephen Gibson in second is starting to make up some ground. He is now 1.6 seconds behind Dantuma. He has also pulled a 2-second gap on third place Mark Nelson. AJ Godsey just about 1 second behind. In fourth, Eric Stoy back in fifth despite that incident. Still holding on to fifth. The Harley Barletta closing the gap on Stoy, now just 1.9 seconds behind. Jeff Hinkle sits in seventh. The Iceman now up to 8th. Brandon Springer in 9th. Aaron Mason in 10th. Gerald Thanos Poole is back out on track. 4 fresh tires. He will definitely be flying around this track faster than anybody else. The drivers have had a second or more of fall off since their fastest laps. Mark Dantuma's fastest lap so far, 53.55. Last time by, 54.67. And that is pretty much on average for the rest of the field. AJ Godsey is just about caught up to Mark Nelson. Eric Stoy sits in fifth, but has Barletta closing in. We saw Stoy get the wall pretty hard out of turn 4. Does look like he has some body damage, and this is one of those tracks where aero is so important. Whoa! Aero is hugely important. That car starting to become a handful for Eric Stoy. David Hampshire cheering on Mark Dantuma, current leader, and Donald Durant's back in 11th. Just a couple of laps away from the competition caution. Gerald Poole on fresh tires is closing in on the cars ahead rapidly. Let's see if we can dial up his in-car. There's Thanos coming out of turn 2. Straightaways not going to be a huge difference. But when they get down to the turns, that's where things get exciting, especially on a flatter track like this one. A little bobble coming out of 4, but he closes the gap even more on the cars ahead, and there it is. Comp caution is out. And just before it came out, AJ moved into 3rd. Mark D'Antuma so far has dominated every lap of the race. His lead getting as big as 2 1/4 seconds over Stephen Gibson and Mark Nelson. Harley Barletta has made quite a comeback so far as well. After that problem coming out of turn 1 rather, on the first lap, he was already attacking, got loose, managed to use the escape road there, get back out on track, lost a ton of ground, fought back to 6th place. What can he do if he doesn't lose it on lap 1 this time? We'll get a word with the birthday boy after pit stops. Here they come. Mark D'Antuma leads the field around. Expect to see everybody in. Gerald Poole likely to stay out this time to get his lucky dog. He'll be back to the lead lap. Then he will come to pit road. And Gerald just took off to reclaim his lap. Nope, still sitting behind the pace car. There he goes. Meanwhile, D'Antuma leads the entire field to pit road. Oh, D'Antuma missed his stall. That is going to set him way. D'Antuma missed his stall by a lot. Stephen Gibson missed his stall. Oh my goodness. Chaos. Mark Nelson comes off pit road with the lead. AJ Gonsi in 2nd. Eric Stoy in 3rd. Barletta in 4th. Jeff Hinkle coming out in 5th. Mark D'Antuma coming out in 11th. Stephen Gibson in 10th. And let's get a quick word with the birthday boy, Harley Barletta. Harley, first off, happy birthday, buddy.
No, thanks, bud. How's it going?
It's going good, but you made a big doo-doo on lap 1.
I did, and then I drove right back up here.
Yes, you did. That was one heck of a comeback. Were you just pushing too hard on cold tires?
Oh yeah, the bottom on cold tires is super, super loose. So yeah, it just kind of got out from underneath me there.
So what can you do now that you're back up here? Restart in fourth, fresh tires, and you know you're not going to make that mistake again. Can you get to the front?
No, I'm probably going to make the same mistake again. These cars suck.
Well, you got your birthday present there, so happy birthday, buddy, and good luck.
Oh, thanks, dude. We'll talk to you.
See ya. Well, Harley Barletta likely to make the same mistake again, but pit road problems put the dominant car in the back and the second fastest car just ahead of him. What a turn of events as they stack back up for the restart. Pace car leads him down the back straightaway once again. This field really got turned upside down on pit road. Definitely going to make for a very interesting first few laps here. We have been caution free so far. Obviously, with the excluding the competition caution, we have been caution free so far. Will that be the case the second half of this event? Right at 50 laps to go, they will have to make a fuel stop at some point. All right, folks, here we go. Pace car is back in. Mark Nelson in control of the restart. He is in the zone, fires immediately. Green flag is in the air. Eric Stoy shoots the gap underneath AJ, trying to go to second immediately. Eric does not have any problems like we saw with Harley, nor does Harley have an issue on the restart. Mark Nelson quickly pulling out, and caution! We've got a big wreck out of turn 2. Rick Surgeon involved. Looks like several cars may have been involved. Let's take a look at this one. There's Rick in the yellow car. Oh, comes down. Clips the 43 of Stephen Gibson. Also gets Dan Tuma. Looking down at this from the blimp. Wow. Rick Sargent had to tow to pit road. Mark Dantuma, Stephen Gibson, both still going, but it looks like both cars have damage. We'll likely see both on pit road this time. Mark Nelson, Eric Stoy, AJ Gotzi, Harley Barletta, Jeff Hinkle, the top 5. DJ Kenner, Brandon Springer, Donald Durant, Aaron Mason, and Gerald Poole back round out the top 10. Nobody can go the distance from here on fuel. They've only been green on those tires for half a lap, and as we expected, only Mark Dantuma and Stephen Gibson come in. Let's see if we can get a word with our new leader, the Mark Nelson. Hey Mark, it's Doug. You got me?
Gotcha.
It's been an interesting one for sure. It looks like he had a ton of speed the first half of the run, but AJ was able to run you down in the last part of that run.
Yeah, he is good at driving a loose race car, and I am not.
Well, he is definitely good at that. He loves short tracking and dirt tracking. That gives him an advantage once that right rear goes away.
Yeah, unfortunately that is the case, and I'm too much of a wuss, so when I start getting a little loose, I start slowing down, so it is what it is at this track. I'll do my best to get out in front of him as far as I can.
Well, so far it's gone your way. You've been up there pretty much in the top 3 the whole time. Can you hold on to the lead, and for how long?
I think I can probably hold on to it, or at least 10 laps or so, before somebody gets up to me, because I don't quite have the groove and the line that I need to be the winning car here, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. So if I can get some luck, I can probably get this thing won.
I have to ask the obvious question. If it weren't for Dantuma's problems, did anybody have a shot at him tonight?
It would take a miracle, that's for sure.
Well, he's in a Chevy again, so he may come from the back, charge by you, and make another 2 1/4 second lead before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I'll be sending an email to iRacing later asking them if they can unbuy that car.
Good plan. Well, good luck. Hopefully you can hold on to it and get back to victory lane, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
The Mark Nelson up front for now, still struggling to get a good line, and struggling once the car goes away. Everybody stacks back up for the restart. Gerald Poole made a quick pass through pit road. Looks like he topped off on fuel. Interesting strategy, as we do not believe anybody can go the distance from here. And Rick Sargent, after that incident, is officially out of the race. A heartbreak for Rick. As always, if you have a favorite driver in the field, don't forget to drop in the comments. Let us know who you're cheering for. A lot of these drivers listen to the broadcast, love to know their fans are in the stands. The Mark Nelson in control of the restart. Pace car is in. And here they come into the restart zone. Mark is fired. They are away. Green flag is in the air. The view looking great from the blip as Mark quickly takes the lead. Barletta trying to take third on the high side from Gozzi. AJ a little loose out of one. Keeps his foot in it. Will there be any problems back behind? Several cars coming by as it looks like Durant's lost a little ground on the restart. Tinker cheering on Donald Durant. He is finally up to speed. Looks like he may have just missed a shift or something coming through the south short chute. Mark Dantuma already on the move after dominating the first third of the race. Problems on pit road sent him to the back, but he's already up to ninth. Mark Nelson still has the lead. Eric in second. Now Barletta into third. AJ Godsey in fourth. A couple of cars having little bobbles out of four. Mark Dantuma way down low coming out of four. Slips back to 11th. Durant gets by. Mark having some problems getting that car up to speed. Mark Nelson moving out to a 6/10 of a second lead over Eric Stoy. Harley in third, AJ on his bumper in fourth. The Iceman currently sits in fifth. Stephen Gibson making up some ground after his pit stop problems, currently in sixth. Brandon Springer in so. Mark Dantuma has had a huge problem out of four. No caution. He is out of the racing surface. Looks like Dantuma pushing really hard. Out of four, gets loose. Durant was loose in front of him. Ouch. And with him having the incident off track, it did not bring a caution. Dantuma's chances had just gone away. AJ Godsey just took third back from Harley Barletta. The Iceman still lurking right behind in fifth. Stephen Gibson, though, closing back up in sixth. Brandon Springer in seventh. Jeff Hinkle in eighth. Gerald Poole looks underneath and quickly takes eighth place. But Hinkle is known as the king of tire saving late in this run. He might be the driver that moves forward. Aaron Mason back in 10th, still in this second pack. Donald Durant's in 11th, trying to reel him back in. Mark Nelson has extended his lead now to 1.8 seconds as AJ Godsey has moved to second. Eric Stoy dropping back to fourth. Looks like AJ got underneath him. Once he did, Stoy lost a couple of spots and now is in trouble. DJ on the bumper. Mark Nelson just set the fastest lap of the race. 53.55. Just a few hundredths of a second faster than Mark Dantuma's earlier lap. And pulling away further from AJ in second. The gap now 2 seconds. DJ Kenner now looks underneath Stoy. Steven Gibson is there. And the Iceman moves into fourth. Gibson looks under Stoy. Oh, Gibson pushes up just a little. Stoy got the wall. Gibson pushed up a little, managed to keep it off Stoy's car, but Stoy went wide out of the turn, got a little bit of the safer barrier, managed to keep his foot in it. Great comeback by Stoy. Gibson's going to try it again into turn 3. Eric still fighting back up on the high side. Oh, a little bobble. But Gibson gets it done, moves into fifth. Gerald Poole leading that second pack. They are closing in on Gibson and Stoy. Now just 2.25 seconds back. Brandon Springer, Jeff Hinkle, Aaron Mason, all in that group. Donald Durant continues to reel them in. Durant was over 4 seconds behind, now 3.4. Mark Nelson's lead now 2.1 seconds. Stoy loose out of 4. Looks like a lot of drivers are struggling in the second half of this race. Coming out of turn 4, that car is going everywhere. And has allowed Gerald Poole to get within 1.5 seconds, and he is closing rapidly. Mark Nelson continues to hold. Donald Durant is on pit road. 34 laps to go. Can he go the distance on fuel from here? Can he make this stop work? The tire fall off has not been very big yet. AJ Gonsi, Harley Barletta, both known for long run speed, as is DJ Kenner back there in fourth. All three of them trying to gain some ground on the leader. All three of them pushing right to the limit. Some very close calls with the outside wall. Durant's rolling back off pit road. Does look like he may have gotten a penalty. Gerald Poole was gaining ground on Stoy, now holds about 1.5 seconds back. Stephen Gibson may have lost connection. He is having connection problems. Hopefully that does not continue. His first race back. He has had a good race so far. Mark Nelson continues to lead by 1.9 seconds over AJ Godsey. Harley Barletta, DJ Kenner right there with him. Stephen Gibson opened the connection holds back in 5th. Eric Stoy currently sitting in 6th. Gerald Poole in 7th. Brandon Springer now in 8th. Jeff Finkel in 9th. Aaron Mason in 10th. Donald Durant's in 11th. He has been to pit road for 4 tires and fuel. Did get a penalty. Will this short pit stop strategy pay off? Gerald Poole is on pit road. Oh, Gerald has had problems getting to pit road. Gerald Poole coming out of turn 4. Did he get the wall? Oh, he definitely got that wall. Take a look from the blimp and see if he got that outside wall coming out of 4. Oh, looks like he got loose and the back end just got it. A hard hit for Thanos. Gerald Poole officially out of the race, as AJ Godsey, late in the run, has started closing the gap on Mark Nelson. Harley Barletta still holding on to 3rd. DJ Kenner in 4th. Stephen Gibson in 5th. Eric Stoy in 6th, Brandon Springer in 7th, Jeff Finkel in 8th, Aaron Mason in 9th. Donald Durant's in 10th, the only car not on the lead lap. Gerald Poole, Rick Sargent out of the race, and Mark Dantuma still sits on pit road. Mark Nelson's lead starting to shrink. He said that would happen. He said on the long run he was struggling here, but AJ Godsey was not. And AJ has closed the gap down to 1.1 seconds. Stephen Gibson, whoa! Gibson's coming in. Stoy is coming in. Looks like everybody is within their pit window. I would expect drivers like AJ Gonsi and Jeff Hinkle to stretch tires as long as they can, as long as it is beneficial. Aaron Mason way up the track. Looked like Aaron was trying to see if he had the momentum to go to the high side. And Jeff Hinkle is in. That is a big surprise. Harley Barletta also on pit road. Mark Nelson leads, but just by 0.6 of a second. AJ is getting closer. If they continue to stay out, lap traffic will come into play. But those lap cars, DJ Kenner is in. Those lap cars ahead, like Stephen Gibson, on 4 fresh tires, will be able to run away. Brandon Springer and Aaron Mason are coming in. Mark Nelson, AJ Gonsi cannot afford to stay out too many more laps. They will give up a ton of speed. Mark Nelson is coming in. AJ Gonsi stays out. And AJ Gonsi will lead for the first time tonight. Mark Nelson on his way that long, lonely trip down pit road. DJ Kenner comes out just ahead of AJ. AJ may be able to take advantage of DJ. It could keep him out an extra lap or two, staying in DJ's drift. Nope, AJ Gonsi is coming in. Mark Nelson on his way back out. Harley Barletta coming through the short chute along with Stephen Gibson. Jeff Hinkle got a penalty on pit road. He has dropped to 10th. And Mark Nelson has the lead for the moment. AJ Gonsi's pit crew going to work quickly. Mark comes out of turn 4. AJ on his way out. Across the yard of bricks for Mark Nelson. AJ comes through the short chute. Mark Nelson coming through the short chute at speed. This is going to be close. AJ out on the backstretch. But Mark not far behind at full speed. AJ should be back to full speed at the start-finish line. We'll see what the gap is. AJ Gonsi is out front by 2.2 seconds. Harley Barletta in third, 1 1/4 seconds back as Stephen Gibson on his bumper. DJ Kenner back in fifth. Eric Stoy currently has 6, Brandon Springer in 7th, Aaron Mason in 8th, Donald Durant's in 9th, and Jeff Hinkle in 10th. Does Durant have enough fuel to make it to the end? Remember, he pitted 10 laps, or almost 10 laps, before everybody else. Mark Nelson is closing the gap on AJ, but AJ has had the long run performance all night. Mark has been the faster of the two on fresh tires. Harley Barletta still sits in third with Stephen Gibson on his bumper. AJ is likely to come in contact with some lap traffic, including Mark the Man Dantuma, who is back on track. A heartbreaking night for Dantuma after dominating the first third of the race, getting caught up in other folks' incidents, sending him to the back. Just problem after problem since the comp caution. Mark Nelson just set the fastest lap so far. 55 or 53.40, a blistering lap. He has closed the gap on AJ down to 1.5 seconds. But when it comes down to the long run tonight, can Mark get there, get past AJ, and then hold on to it? Harley Barletta in third, now almost 2 seconds behind Mark. He is starting to pull a bit of a gap on 4th place, Stephen Gibson. DJ Kenner in 5th has a bit of a gap, 6.5 seconds on Stoy in 6th. Brandon Springer currently in 7th, but Aaron Mason 2 seconds behind in 8th is closing the gap. Donald Durant's in 9th, Jeff Hinkle in 10th, and Mark Dantuma has managed to move up to 11th. AJ's lead currently steady at 1.5 seconds. Mark said he struggled with the long runs here. When it gets later in, he may not have anything left for AJ. But would still be a great points night considering second place Gerald Poole out of the race early. Third place Mark D'Antuma way back in 11th. Fourth place Donald Durant's back in 9th. And fifth place Kyle Holden not here. Definitely a great points night for him and a huge points night for current leader AJ and defending champ AJ Gotzi. AJ came into tonight 16th or 15th in points. But the two cars in front of him are not here tonight. Several of the cars outside of the top 10 not here tonight, and the rest of them are behind him. And the beautiful unicorn cheering on the Mark Nelson. Mark still trying to close that gap on AJ while he can. D'Antuma is back on pit road. No matter what happens, D'Antuma has reached the point in the race where he can gain no more positions. Is likely parking it for the night. Eric Stoy is on pit road. This was definitely unexpected. D'Antuma getting tires. Eric Stoy is not getting tires. Don't know what's happening there. Eric Stoy may be done. D'Antuma on his way back out may actually be able to move into the top 10 if Stoy does not return to the track. And AJ Gotzi out front has started to inch away from Mark Nelson. The gap now 1.7 seconds. Harley Barletta back in third, still has a bumper full of Stephen Gibson in fourth. DJ Kenner back in fifth is starting to close ground on Gibson and Barletta, but maybe too far back with too few laps. Brandon Springer in sixth has Aaron Mason in seventh, almost to his bumper. Donald Durant has had a great comeback, up to eighth now. Jeff Hinkle in ninth. And Eric Stoy is officially out of the race. Mark D'Antuma may be able to move into the top 10. Mark Nelson is gaining on AJ again. The gap now down to 1.4 seconds. Did something go wrong with AJ over that last lap? Mark continuing to push to the limit, and he is gaining ground on AJ. Harley Barletta still has a bumper full of Gibson. Oh, Brandon Springer way loose out of 4. Aaron Mason lost a little time to Springer on the last lap, but now he is gaining again. Mark Nelson said he struggled to find the line here. He was struggling with the car late in the run. It appears he has found something. He is chopping away at the gap to AJ. And Stephen Gibson has finally gotten past Barletta, but Barletta looks to the high side. Not enough. Ooh! Harley loose out of 1. AJ has pulled the gap back to 1.5 seconds over Mark. Stephen Gibson trying to put some space between him and Harley. Brandon Springer, despite getting loose, has started to pull away from Aaron Mason again. Nine laps to go at the... Whoa! AJ wicked out of shape. AJ is a very, is an exceptionally good dirt racer and short track racer. He is very good at holding on to the car when it is way out of shape, as we just saw. And at the moment, AJ is holding that gap steady at 1.5 seconds. Harley has a little bit of help from Dan Tuma, but it's not enough. Stephen Gibson still holds third. Aaron Mason still trying to find a little bit more speed to close the gap back on Brandon Springer. Mark Nelson still trying to close that gap, but just cannot get there. And big push for Harley Barletta. Looked like he and Dan Tuma were bump drafting down the front stretch, but Stephen Gibson still pulling away. Gibson holding that gap about a car length or two apart. AJ has started to extend his lead once again. Now 1.7, 1.8 seconds over Mark Nelson. AJ will come into some lap traffic. Unlikely, though, to slow him down. Durant hangs it down low, lets AJ have the preferred line through the short chute. Durant is headed back to pit road. AJ Gotzi still has a 1.5 second lead with 5 laps to go. Aaron Mason has chomped away at the gap. He is now just 3/4 of a second behind Brandon Springer. It has been a lot of back and forth between these two at the back of the lead pack. Aaron closes the gap, then Brandon pulls away. Steven Gibson now has just over half a second on Barletta. And Harley has no more help from Dan Tuma. The Iceman still holds on in 5th. A good points night for him as well. Four laps to go. Mark has closed the gap. It is down to 1.25 seconds. On the long runs, you kind of have to bet on AJ Gotzi. But suddenly, late in the race, Mark Nelson has found something. And he is closing in. Steven Gibson in 3rd. Still has a big gap on Harley in 4th. And Aaron Mason may have pushed it too hard. He is now 1.7 seconds behind Brandon. 2 laps to go for AJ Gotzi. Mark Nelson may be able to reel him in, but can he get past him? In the back straightaway towards turn 3 and 4. Mark is going to have to close a lot of gap very quickly. Out of turn 4. White flag is in the air one more time around. For AJ Gotzi, his lead 1.1 seconds. Mark has gained over 1/10 of a second in the last lap. But he is still over a second behind. AJ AJ just has to keep his eye on the mirror for 2 more turns. The gap 1.1 second going through turn 3. And coming out of turn 4, AJ's lead still 1 second. He is gonna do it. AJ Godsey wins at the Brickyard. Mark Nelson comes home an awesome second. And Stephen Gibson, welcome back, buddy, comes home in 3rd. And what a finish. Everybody's celebrating. Harley tore it up. Let's talk to 2nd place, Mark Nelson. Oh, looks like we do have Stephen Gibson available. Stephen, first off, welcome back, buddy, and congratulations. You came back like a storm.
Yeah, that was pretty rough right there, trying to catch up the Harleys. I really just trying to do everything I could to just save there, and eventually caught up to him. And yeah, it was crazy with that weird pit entrance. I don't know what happened. I thought I was in the box, and I guess somehow we were still touching, and me and Mark D'Antimo both missed our pit stalls in that beginning, that calm caution. So I have no idea what happened there, but I'd like to apologize to him, or if I did anything wrong there. But yeah, it was good racing there.
Man, if that incident had not happened on the comp caution, you and Mark likely running away with this thing, but still a great fight back after that incident.
Yeah, it was just made good moves in the beginning of that. Well, I guess I got wrecked out again. I forgot about that second caution, but that was just another reset, and then just went back to it. Just made a good move and just try to save the tires. And I saw AJ made like a really good pit stop there. I was trying to make a really good pit stop, but I just kind of locked it up going into entry, and I think I just lost myself too much time there. So yeah, it's pretty much what happened. Just running good, 3rd place. I'll take that every day, and hopefully next week can be better.
Oh, great job. Great to see you back, buddy.
Yep, thank you, Doug.
Stephen Gibson comes home in 3rd. The Mark Nelson finishes 2nd. Mark, one heck of a run, and you said earlier you didn't have anything on the long run, but late in the race, you definitely found something.
Yeah, AJ drove by me earlier in the race, and I heard him do something, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that. And sure enough, it started making me go faster, so that was cool, but darn it, didn't matter.
Well, it mattered enough, and a huge points night for you tonight as well. Now that you're the points leader, man, a big night with Gerald Poole, Mark D'Antuma, Donald Durant's all having problems.
Yeah, points are cool. It's good to get a little bit of a lead, but I sure am bummed out from that ending there. You know, just when I didn't think AJ could be any more awesome, he somehow makes 2 to 3 seconds up on me on pit road, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say to that, but I needed to come out in front of him, and I failed. So good win to him. Nice job.
Well, great job, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
And finally, our winner, AJ Godsey. AJ, something tells me after you kiss the bricks, you're not drinking milk tonight.
No, a lot of ultras though.
Well, it's all in how you celebrate. Another great win, man. It was definitely an up and down race throughout the field, but you managed to be there all the time, be up in the fight. I think you were in the top 3 most of the night.
Yeah, it's my first race back. I've been away for about a month, so just trying to get my feet back under me. It's definitely not something you stay sharp on if you take some time away. So, but once I got comfortable, got going, I was really good on the long runs. I definitely needed a long run at the end there.
Well, it definitely went in your favor and paid off. Were you watching Mark's times the last 10 laps or so when he started gaining on you?
I mean, I of course I kept an eye on my relative. I was just trying to maintain the gap and not use my tires up, just like I did all race. So, but yeah, you're always watching your relative.
Well, a great job, great job holding him off and coming home with another win. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, thanks a lot for what you do, Doug.
My pleasure. AJ Gotze gets another win, this time at the Brickyard. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget Jones BS Racing tomorrow night at 9. Rumor has it there will be a convoy tomorrow afternoon as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great night, everybody.